Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at 1:05 in the afternoon. So we're beginning our conversations this afternoon and continue them on S 327, which is our economic development bill. So I think we're at the point where we can have our legislative counsel, Rick Sagal, walk us through the bill. Good afternoon, Rick. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Rick Sagal with the Office of Legislative Counsel. Have a draft 3.3 of S 327 to share with you all. I think Jonathan's probably just posted it to the website if you are looking for it. Okay, so I walked through one of the sections earlier this morning. I'll just kind of hit that again because I did make one or two changes since we last spoke, but otherwise I'll just go chronologically through the bill.
Okay.
So no changes to the first page or any change to section 7, which is the business resource growth study by the Department of Economic Development. Any questions or comments about section 7?
So we received some correspondence from the state auditor. That may be being able to beef that up a little bit.
It was over the weekend, wasn't it?
That was yesterday morning.
Yes.
So we, I don't know. Oh, you had it too, right?
Yeah.
Why don't I send that? Send that over to me. Rick had it, but the committee had it. Probably should be posted as well. Jonathan, are you on House Commerce? Do you get, if we send it House Commerce, do you get it? It's okay. So I just sent it to everyone.
Do you want me to share my screen, Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Let me share that document.
Yep, and that document, Jonathan will post as well.
Switch here.
I shared it with Brett Cooper and Brett Bosch. And I don't know if you all had looking at any thoughts that you might have, Jonathan, Dave.
Yeah. Yes. One thought I had was probably to share was when I was reading the commentary from the auditor, I thought at first glance those seem like things that the state auditor does. And that we welcome that continued effort from that office as opposed to us attempting to include language that broadly does what the office does. And to benefit, I'm referring to a line in email, which the auditor observes. In any case, my real concern is the failure of the bill to make a reference to collect and report on the efficacy and cost effectiveness of all those programs. And that's a statement that I felt very nearly mirrors what the auditor's remit is. And that certainly is something we can leave to the auditor.
It is, but then I think it's up to us and up to the agency to determine how they do that. And maybe this is a place where we ask them to actually look at that, make sure that they are providing. I think if the auditor is saying that we're not getting Um, we're not getting the right information. Perhaps we need to ask them to take a look at that. I don't, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, so I get what you say, Jonathan. I think there were two parts. I'm reading it really quickly, I'm sorry. But there were the issues of, well, you're not collecting from performance data. And that was one issue I think you talked about. And the other issue I thought he talked about was, hey, and you're not reviewing. And I think on the latter point, I think you're absolutely right, John. It'd be nice for, we probably don't have the capability to do that in a rigorous analytical manner. But on the face of it, it seems fair to talk about performance measures and whether agencies can or should like that. I don't know the details of that.
Well, in their contracts, they also have performance measures, so.
Okay.
Then the question is, are you looking at those performance measures and
Okay.
are you tracking them?
Yeah, if you're collecting it and no one's looking at it and acting on it, then no one has actually to improve. Where they could improve if
Right.
there was appropriate oversight.
Yeah, and I think, when we're talking about this, I think it's identifying what is out there, who is disseminating the information, or is the information being disseminated? And that's part of, I think, some performance contracts that are out there. And so if we have a room full of businesses that don't raise their hand when you ask the question, do they know where to go, and anybody telling you, then I think there's an issue.
I think of that as a really interesting kind of question of measuring a counterfactual or measuring a lack is so hard to quantify. And but you can get that quick hit of like who's in the room, who knows, and hands don't go up and think, well, that's not fantastic. And then assessing that in a quantitative way can be a little more slippery. And that does seem like an interesting puzzle to try to crack. I go to see if we can find a thing that is. I think a lot of the times we talk about some of our programs, it's sort of the usual suspects. We see a lot of the same applicants. And on the one hand, it's good that people become familiar with the resource. And some might say, in this environment, are they likely to tell others about that resource if it means imperiling their access to it? Having said that, part of what got us thinking about the READY program was that it wasn't all out the door, that we see a lot of high levels of subscription to our resources, which implies that perhaps even if there were more demand, the supply may not be able to meet it. Like if you make the lanes bigger on the highway, you get more traffic. And right now, we get an amount of traffic that might be appropriate or scaled to the size of the lanes if the lanes the budget for the program that isn't. Just some thoughts that have been on my mind since yesterday.
Sorry to be so scattered here, because I was just looking at, I'm always wondering, I mean, I appreciate what Doug's saying, but it's sort of like a different subject matter a bit for what we're trying to do. We're not trying to evaluate the programs here.
Right.
That's
We're trying to make sure the information about programs are getting out.
it is there. It's somebody else's job. I mean, ultimately, it's our job. But it just seems we're talking about two different subject matters.
Specify who the stakeholders that the agency would work with are. And I think in section 7, we largely leave that to the department to exercise. I wonder if there's a mechanism, if that's if the specificity there might help ensure a breadth of perspectives on where it's not going or things of that nature, people that's one idea that has sort of come to mind. If we place in statute some of the entities that we expect to be working with the agency, we might widen the range of perspectives for that. Where is it getting? Where's it not getting? It's just,
Where do you see stakeholders?
I'm sorry.
Right at the first,
Right at the beginning.
right at the beginning. Commissioner Winicky. On page
Oh.
1.
I'm sorry, I'm flipping back to the.
I read it fast.
Okay.
It's,
Recommendation is to, let's put some names in there.
I wonder if we have a good spectrum of names, if we'll get a good spectrum of uptake or potential.
Right, just to confirm where we are. This is about adding additional stakeholders into the study
Well, it's adding the names of the stakeholders
or adding the names of the stakeholders into the study. Okay.
for some of the stakeholders, maybe not all, but
Including. Yeah, so I was thinking that might help us not have people look in the mirror, but rather other perspectives on the thing. I didn't have any reason to think that they wouldn't have a good representation, but there's one area where we're silent and perhaps we could specify something.
so let's start naming some of those up.
Economic development. I mean, we have regional planning commissions, regional economic development commissions. Yeah, that's two.
SBGC, what about SBA? SDA. The RDC, Regional Development Corporations,
VH,
regional planning, if we're looking at inventory.
Mhm.
Business groups.
Yeah.
Chamber,
chambers.
not just Vermont, regional
Regional.
chambers.
Yeah, local change.
VHCB. They do, well, they at least do the farm viability program. Which also does a lot of business planning and stuff.
EHPD,
Yeah.
Bless you all.
Yes, bless you. Beautiful.
I'm leaving.
Surrounded.
feel like, at the same time, you ask the chamber.
Yeah.
professional of color.
I think we also have the Office of Refugee Resettlement. It's also in there.
The capstones with the micro business.
Oh, right.
It's
Yeah.
Cap agencies.
Yeah.
the regional cap agency.
Doing their work for them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we need to try to think of every group that's in the state, but I think that we give a list. And those are at least the minimum that we want is, but. Just language that. Encourages them to look even further than.
With UVM, are we thinking about the extension program or would that, doesn't matter? Or does that need to be specified since they have so many other, like tons of avenues that probably could relate?
You just have UVM.
Yeah.
Extension services. That's where, farmers and stuff, that's where they first a lot of time.
Yeah, no, yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I understand, but they also do extension parts as
That's
well
true.
for all
That's
sorts
true.
of stuff.
Post-secondary education,
Um,
so it's not paying.
Yeah.
That's a,
Yeah, instead of just naming UVM, you could hit post-secondary institution,
Yeah.
educational institution,
yeah. Like,
because you might have Champlain College too, they have a
right,
business program. Like, sustainable jobs. Don't we want to hear from Alan?
do we already have VHCB's ready program?
We have VHC.
Okay. We got the employee ownership
ESOP,
visa.
put ESOPs in there too.
A little thing or two.
You know, a little bit about program.
Oh, but for that.
it's a good list,
Great list.
Yep.
4 more lines of.
Rick says. Okay,
It's only a 32-page bill, so we're not
that's fine.
crazy territory, it's nothing.
Usually our economic development bills are these 50 to 100.
This is
That's a bill for me to read.
Yeah, it is. Okay, let's keep going with Rick. So
Anything else from section 7?
are we good with charges that Jonathan and Dave, you both looked at that? Is there anything you want to add to that or change or?
This includes the changes we discussed Friday.
Okay. Okay. Everybody good with this section now? All right.
Okay. So we'll add a subsection C, which looks out the stakeholders.
Okay.
Okay, next section is the Convention Center Task Force. Few changes based on last week's testimony. Okay, I'm on page 4. So no change to the membership, still adding the president of UVM or designate. The report, interim report. Currently is November 1, 2025, which they submitted one already. So
I think they can give us a final report November 1, 26 or December 1, 26 is what I understood from them. But we want to leave the task force going a little bit longer,
okay,
just in case we have more work for them to do. So I think we can
Yeah,
change
take out
that
the
to
word.
final report.
so I guess what I would leave this just as currently is, they already submitted the interim report.
Yep.
So I think I must have written that down wrong, so you wanna
Well, I
just,
think we were talking about another interim report,
that's right, that was my understanding, so I have
Right.
that,
but it doesn't sound like we really need that.
okay,
And so we can say a final report.
which is still on or before July 1, 2027. Does that sound good, or do you wanna push that back? I mean,
I think let's put it at December 1 of 2026.
December 26th, okay.
And we want it before the session and they think they can get it done by then.
Okay,
But we'll leave the task force going. I think are we good for another year after that? Just in case they,
Yeah, I was
Or do you
thinking
want-
July 1, 27, just
Okay.
because that forces us to make a decision during.
well,
session.
then
If they're
they
gonna
can come
keep
back
going
and say,
on.
we need, we
Yeah.
need to keep going, but it keeps them going, yeah. So July 1 sounds.
July,
You want to bring them to talk to them too.
all right, and striking out the subdivision that says the task force shall meet not more than 6 times.
Right.
They can come up to the grade guide. But also keeping in the increase to 14 meetings for per diem.
Yeah.
Reimbursement. So no more than 14. Instead of 6.
Everybody good with that? Okay,
All right. No other changes to the task force. No change to the veggie. Perspective on field review.
Healing,
No, I'm not okay with it.
Repealing the repeal?
Repealing the repeal is fine. Repealing.
No.
gotta be careful. Repealing the sunset.
Yes.
Okay, then we move on to section 10A, which is what I walked through this morning. This is not new, let me remove that. The new language. So again, the Department of Labor is going to run this study, so that the Office of Workforce Strategy and Development in collaboration is the board of choice. And you have the labor representative here, if that verbiage is appropriate or not, I believe it is, but they are here to the board collaboration.
Good with that, Roland? Okay, back.
Do we want some sort of looking, some sort of catch-all and any other recommendations kind of thing? I mean, we got a list and we got the opportunities currently available. Do we want them to be,
Yeah, usual and any other,
yeah, maybe it's covered in the lead-in, but
I think I let me get to that. I think maybe there's a place that you want to clarify what that is. There's something that to do that.
yeah, it's usually at the end,
Yeah.
we'll put something in there and any other.
there's a little bit of that in the lead-in to be, but
Okay.
that'd be, have another set.
So adding the phrase or operate as added this morning is still there. Number
Excuse.
on page 7. So subdivision 6 has been kind of reworked a little bit, cataloging opportunities currently available for culinary and hospitality training and certification. That's that sound at the bottom. Okay, 7 is new. Determining whether there are gaps in the availability of culinary and hospitality training and certification programs.
I was reading.
So Brett Olson, that is your recommendation? Did I get your?
Yeah, you got, yeah.
So number 8, it's supposed to be the catch-all, but maybe you can expand it. Conducting any additional research or outreach that would promote the development of programs. I think that gives them the green
Yeah,
light.
yeah.
But we can wordsmith it however you want.
Did you get that section in there too, where the chamber was paying for everything?
Yes. It's right in the middle of the bill.
You're just channeling you. that's all.
Okay, stakeholders, this one has them listed. No changes since the morning walkthrough. I didn't hear any requests for additions, but are you happy with this, the institutional food or beverage provider? It just bugs me, that's the only.
Do you, I mean, you want us to be more specific?
No, it's, I just wanted, I will remove the highlighting in that case. All right. So no change to the report due December 1 of 2026. Okay, section 10B is the culinary apprenticeship pilot program. Only this section that Jay Ramsey walked through this morning, only one change, which is what he recommended. Adding I think it was tourism So
Remove tourism, yeah, I think Edie came up with the.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, it's.
the pilot and the hospitality based. Were there any other changes to that section? I didn't catch the whole testimony.
Apprenticeable is not a,
Oh, it is.
is it?
Or yes.
How come it's underlined
Well-
in red?
Legal language is not always
Ah,
Merriam-Webster
that's a
dictionary.
legal term.
It's used a lot in that chapter, and I think it actually might even be defined in that chapter. So if you say it's a word, it's a word
Notwithstanding.
in the VSA.
That would
As long
be
as you
nice.
say it's a word,
Yeah,
I go along with you.
yeah. I didn't say it's a word. The statute is telling you it's a word.
Okay,
I'm not going to give up my grammatical preferences or spelling to word, to the word program. If I decide.
well, that's why I was asking questions, because I saw it was underlined in red that, you know.
I know what it's trying to manipulate you into a certain way of spelling things.
And you don't.
Season is underway.
And just let it be known, Representative Olson will not be manipulated.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so no other changes to this pilot program. Are there any questions about the language that you heard from Jay earlier today?
okay, we all good with that? John, the department's good with both of those? Thank you.
So I'll bring up one thing. Those two sections currently do not cross collaborate. There's discussion to me and Rowan about that. I didn't think it was necessary to reference each other. They can be independent, but unless you all think that they should somehow reference each
I
other.
think they will. But I don't think we're gonna force it.
Okay, section 11 is that Route 22A study that was removed last time. So the Rural Industry Development Grant Program, no changes to that language. That is section 12A and 12B. Are there any questions about that program?
Jonathan?
Something that came up towards, and I think I was looking at towards the end of the program's description, section F, where we're talking about the awards and the amount. Subsection 3, is that? The agency shall with its grant funds upon determining that the applicant has met all application conditions and requirements. And I think we had a testimony about the existence of, I think, 3 or 4 current grantees. And with language and adjustment here, enable them to have the same treatment as being positive. And we're shifting to here.
So this current sentence is in the session law as well that we're striking. So this is already part of the program, this language. So putting this back does not change what a current recipient could do. I may not fully understand the practical implications of that.
Because I was thinking of that same thing, that it says that determining the applicant has met all application conditions and requirements. If we change what an award can be, are we retroactively changing then how the agency shall view the activities of the existing recipients?
So I think I understand. So the awards, there's been what, 4 awards
Yeah.
that have been, those are done, right? Those awards have been awarded.
Okay.
So if you, so if there's, so are you saying that there's money left that has not?
Well, their award has, the amount of money that they are due to receive has been determined, and now it's a matter of they have to reach the 80% to get that amount. They have to spend a larger amount to receive that funding that's been allocated to them.
Right.
They could get that fully drawn down under the shifts we're looking to make. They would have to have spent less to be eligible to receive that amount.
Right.
Now,
That's
what Adam was bringing to it.
And that's what we heard
Right.
from an awardee, so. And so that's one of the And so I was addressing that.
Now I'm
as a testimony.
I was having a hard time on this. I think you explained it very well.
So the award is based on 80%, right? So that's, to me, and we can clarify it here, that is done, that award has been. The application's been awarded and they have to meet those specifications.
Or can we notwithstand that and then they can receive, they can then get 50% and still maintain the award, right? I think that's what was being asked of us.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
comfortable doing that? It's not changing the amount of money they're receiving. It's the amount of money that they now have to go out and try to get in order to get that money.
Right.
And my question is the way 3 is written? Would the way it's written allow the agency to do that? To say, okay, previous current recipients. You've met all application conditions and requirements because we just shifted the application conditions and requirements to make it easier to draw down the award. And that's because if that's the case, you don't have to change the language. It would just be applied, they would be treated the same as prospective applicants. But if that's not enough, we need to specify or a notwithstanding or something, if the committee likes that idea, I just want to make sure we find the way to say that.
So there may be dollars that are outstanding that haven't been drawn down yet because they haven't met the 80%.
Yeah.
And so if we're changing this to 50%, they may be able to draw those dollars down now.
Yeah,
And is that what we want?
And then
What does the committee want? Yeah, I'm fine with allowing it to happen if that means a project can get going quicker.
So
Different if it's the other way around, only federal does that.
Make it harder.
Make it hard. Having awarded a grant, now here's what you have to.
6 more hoops to jump through.
Administration.
I think that's a good call out to understand that that's what the language does now. Right?
New language, yeah.
The way it's written now allows current programs that have gotten some money to get more if they. Or,
No,
or it
this would
doesn't
be-
do it now.
no,
It
this
would
would
be
be new.
modifying.
I think
This would be new, any new applications that come in fall under the 50%. You get 50% the cost and you put in 50%. And it's a
So-
grant. So we are changing everything to a grant. Even the monies that have been expended. The other question is, should we allow for anything that's outstanding that they haven't drawn dollars down yet because they haven't met the 80% threshold? If they meet the 50%, can they draw them down there?
And I just wondered what the sentence would be.
I would, yeah, if the committee wants to go, I would clarify that. Yeah. Because I don't think it's natural to assume that's the fault.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm fine with that. I think it makes sense. We can get projects going quicker. Then that's what the money's meant for. And then we're already saying that we're gonna grant it. You don't have to pay it back. I mean, truly, it was a grant unless they sold the property.
Right.
So we're still following, I think, legislative intent at the time, and I can tell you I was there, so our intent was make sure the RDCs were able to do things, but if they did sell it, then the money should come back. But this was just taking it a step further and just allowing that money to be granted out.
It's sufficient, funding to make that change. It would
Probably
probably.
there won't be any, so that money's been awarded.
Yeah.
It's been encumbered, but it may not have been paid out. Because the project, they may not have gotten to the 80% level. So what we're saying is,
Yeah.
we'll drop it to the 50%. They may be able to draw those funds and it may help them actually attract more funds because they have that 20%.
But the granting authority was assuming they contribute 80, right?
Right, yeah. But
We got
what
enough money
we're,
though, right?
they have enough, yeah, the money, so there's about 2.5 million that's encumbered
Okay,
out of the 5 million.
Yeah.
So it's encumbered, maybe not all of it's been paid out yet, but the
Right.
money is there.
Okay.
And we're not increasing the amount that those awards can get.
Yeah.
We're saying those awards are at 20%, but they're going to be grant awards and not have to be paid back.
yeah, that makes sense.
And on top of that, now it's at 50%. So if you're at the 50% level, then you can, it'll help, might help them draw more dollars.
Yeah, okay. That's it.
Everyone good with that concept? Okay. All right,
So I think I'll add language that allows it to happen and further clarifies that just because we're doing the switch from session law, the statute does not mean that those previous authorities have to reapply or have to,
Right.
get additional authorization. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
For intent and just to build answers to the.
Yeah.
Okay. So subsection G, it's been here, but just, we already kind of have language in here. That previous current law says the deed restriction, right, where you sell it. The profit will go to the state.
Right.
They have language here saying that any deed restriction that requires a program award recipient to return to the state the principal amount of the grant is void. So that would apply to others, sorry, that have been awarded this program. So it'll look something like that.
Oh, just to clarify, so for folks that are currently in the pipeline that are in the process of raising their 80, but they may not have gotten to 80. This.
Well, so there's
this-
four grant awards.
Yeah,
They've been awarded the grant.
yeah.
Yeah.
But some of them may not have drawn down because they haven't done the 80%.
Correct.
So we are allowing them to drop it to 50,
Correct.
which.
Allow them to
just
draw
get
the
it out,
money,
Draw the money. get
and
the
then-
project.
which could help them actually draw down funds from that place.
Okay, any other questions about that section?
You good with that?
Okay, section 13A and B is the nickel rounding bill, Cameron's bill. 8/37.
Yep.
I have not, he just came in here to whisper that there's changes, I don't have the changes yet, so I've not. An excellent email, so what you see here is what Cameron walked through this morning, which. I think
Okay.
there were a few changes
Yep.
that you wanted to make,
Yep, so
have not been made yet.
we don't need to go through with that.
Okay.
We'll wait until it's done.
All right, skipping ahead to section 14A through 14G, which is the CPIC program. This is a copy and paste of S-138 that Ellen Chakowski walked you all through. And I understand there were a couple of changes, which I want to highlight those here. Okay, page 21 and 22 and 23, no changes. Page 24. Subsection C. It's the written agreement. The yellow language and highlighted improvements.
Yep.
The as passed by the Senate language. That word, let's see here, sorry, it's not my bill, so I'm still learning what this is.
It was project.
Thank you. Yes, every instance of improvement was project, and I see you had a good reason for that change. I don't know what that is.
A project, you could finish a project within a couple of years
Yeah,
and then you'd have to pay it back. This is for the life of the improvement.
okay. Okay, next change to CPACE is on page 26. The phrase subject to. In subsection H. was shall be determined by the private agreement. So instead of shall be determined by, now it's shall be subject to the private agreement for the financing of improvements. I assume you all recommended that change? Yeah. All right. The next change is on page 27. This, Ellen kind of restructured the subsection A. No, this is how she has it before, okay. Subsection A, the C-PACE administrators. Oh yeah, she did restructure this a little bit. Looking at the 138 as passed by the Senate. So previously, the language in subsection A. There was a sentence that she removed. The sentence was, however, at the end of subsection A, however, a capital provider or lender shall not serve as a program administrator in a municipality where it is also lending. Yeah. That was removed. Scrolling down to subsection D, I believe. Yeah, there is a subsection totally removed.
Yes.
Which was the reporting subsection. Where DFR would consult with their stakeholders, that was removed. So no language removed in D, just the entire subsection of the previous D was removed.
Correct.
Okay. All right, page 28. Yeah, highlighted because it's the new section in this bill, nothing changed in the section, and to my understanding, this is to ensure that, because you currently have an R-PACE program, right? And this is to make sure the cross references are correct. Section 14C, there's a change there in section 3264. Adding the phrase relating to resiliency improvements as defined in section 3275. So this was just added into this sentence. I assume again, this is cross-referencing the R-PACE program. But I can double check it. You all have a recollection of that phrase? Yeah. Section 14B, liability municipality. No change. Section 14E, release of lien. No change. Section 14F, declaration of assessments and liens. No change. And finally, section 14G, the exceptions. No change. Was anything that's in that C-PACE language that you want to see extract? Okay, the effective dates are a little bit confusing, not too bad. There are two sections that take effect on passage. Three, including the effective date section. The task force section, because they're currently in existence, you want them to be able to meet and get paid for additional meetings on passage. And the nickel rounding is currently set to take effect on passage. I assume you want that to also be the case here. Then everything else, the studies, the veggie repeal, the rural program, the RIDIP program
The RIDIC program should be on passage.
on passage, okay. What about the C-PACE program?
It could all be on passage,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
I don't see any reason why make everything.
Everything?
Fine.
Like, by us, so we could do.
Yeah, I see no,
That makes your job easier.
Yeah, and the reporter's job easier.
I don't see anything new that shouldn't be passage. Well, the veggie repeal. Sunset repeal, sorry.
that can be on passive too, huh?
Yes.
So everything on passage. Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions about 327?
Good job incorporating so many different people's stuff.
Yeah. So Rick, how much time would you need to reprocess this, get it back to us?
Cameron said the nickel rounding is done, so I'll get that and put it in. Adding the stakeholders to the study, the business study. Shouldn't be more than 30 minutes,
Good answer.
So
45.
if we say we'll meet again at 2:30, that'll work for you?
It's fine.
Okay, so make sure everyone's good. Anything else, anything we missed? Anything more that should go in?
Stakeholders. Can't remember, did we put in the Vermont Law School business? Assistance?
Oh,
That's a really good
that's a
one to
good
add
one.
in.
Is that?
Yeah.
Vermont.
Oh, the Vermont Law School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the SBTC or is that?
No.
No, it's different.
They have a program that they run to help businesses.
Right.
Small
Their
business.
small business.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll let Rick draft, take a break. And we'll come back at 2:30. If there's nothing else, and we'll go through the language again. If that's good with everyone, we'll just go. Okay,